Hello, everyone. Welcome back from lunch or the paired networking session if you attended. I know Mary Rose is still with people connecting, which is awesome. We're so glad to hear it. But if you're with me, congratulations. But we're here for going digital and the opportunity to build and engage new communities. So, as you know, when lockdown happened and COVID happened, it really just shook up everything. So our rare communities and communications had to go online like the rest of the world, which really put connecting and engaging with other people at the heart of everything we do now. So it increased accessibility for people, made sharing ideas easier, and it really brought our community together that spanned the whole globe. So as you can tell, Virtual Rare Disease Showcase, we're living proof of connecting everyone and bringing our family online. So today we're going to have a bunch of talks and lightning talks at the end, but we really just want to highlight three online communities that have really just developed out of a need for family and connecting and supporting each other. So we have one example of how a platform is connecting our rare youth together from across the globe to help them become advocates and ambassadors for their specific rare condition. And then we also have another online learning community that is brand new, and that is to help medical students and clinicians learn more about rare disease in the comfort of their own home with interactive sessions that is designed beautifully, if I must say so myself. And then we'll go into how another organization is continuing to support their community through COVID, but actually expanded to help out a brand new community that didn't have a patient group organization. And learn what they learned through that and how that can be applied going forward to other communities that definitely need our help. So without further ado, I just want to say a massive thank you to our sponsors, in particular Open Health. So they are sponsoring this session. And I don't know if you attended yesterday's session in our breakout session with Gavin Jones, who's the director there. And they are just brilliant people who are doing so much good for the rare disease community. So we thank you so much for sponsoring this, and it's our absolute pleasure having you here and presenting topics that all of us are interested in. So without further ado, I will move over into introducing our speakers. So first up, taking our virtual stage, will be Daisy Marriott and Georgia Hart, and they're both from Rare Youth Revolution, who is a new online platform connecting rare youth communities to help them tell their stories in their own format they want, address really hard conversations that they might not want to have with their parents or doctors. So they come to teens just like them, young adults just like them, who understand it wholeheartedly. And they are really just trying to become ambassadors from around the world, India, America, England, you name it, they're there. So they actually have recorded a video already. So we'll be playing that, but have no fear because Daisy and Georgia are in the room to take all your questions afterwards. And I will leave it there because they have so much more to tell you and they can do a lot better justice than me. So I guess with that, we'll just play the video.
Rare Youth Revolution is an initiative by Rare Revolution magazine, and I feel so passionately about my role as the youth editor and coordinator for Rare Youth Revolution. I feel this is something I would have benefited from hugely when I was younger, when I was diagnosed. So it's a really, really great initiative. And I'd like to introduce you to the lovely Georgia, who is part of it.
Hi, I'm Georgia Hart, and I'm a Rare Youth Revolution ambassador and columnist. I was diagnosed with a rare condition called Friedreich's ataxia at 15 years old. FA is a progressive condition with a whole host of symptoms. I am now 23 years old, and over the past 8 years I have learnt so much. My main aim is to be the person that Ilmi needed to look up to.
Thank you, Georgia. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about the beginning and how the Rare Youth Revolution came about. Right, so let's start at the beginning. In 2016, after the first edition of Rare Revolution magazine was so successful within the rare disease community, the idea to replicate this, but for younger people, was born, and the idea was titled the Rare Youth Project. The initial concept was to create a dedicated youth programme empowering children and young people to have their rare voices heard by supporting them with a structured mentoring and work experience programme. This involved a group of young people whose lives have been affected by rare disease, conditions or disability in some way or another to come together and form a youth team and take part in the whole process leading up to the release of the magazine. The youth team got the chance to meet some of the big names and faces. They met with Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon, Scotland's top chef Andrew Fairley. They interviewed top tennis coach Judy Murray. Articles were written from meeting with Paralympic medal holder Sophie Wells, MBE. They went behind the scenes at Topshop, which is really exciting, and so much more. This edition was entirely produced and created by the youth group. It was a great success. It gave each member of the team a chance to express themselves and their interests. And the outcome was their own online magazine, Rare Youth Revolution Takeover. Georgia was youth editor for this project and it gave her inspiration to take on her own advocacy journey as a young person living with FA, which she is going to explain to you about now.
At the beginning of 2017, I spoke at a Find a Cure event at the Royal College of Nursing in London. Although it was scary, one of the best things that came from it was being asked to write for and join Rare Revolution youth team. The Takeover magazine was a lot of fun, and the reason I realised how much I love writing. In some ways, everything being online has been a positive experience for me, as I've had more time and energy to dedicate to different projects. For example, I can write for Rare Revolution and help them out even if my fatigue is bad and I have to do it from my bed. Having a chronic illness and being stuck in a global pandemic has opened my eyes to a new way of working. On the other hand, I miss the social aspect of being in person, something really important in the rare disease world. It's a sense of community, and this is really hard to recreate online. Here is Edison, one of the youngest members of our youth team.
Welcome to our page where you can find out lots of information about being a kid with a rare disease. We will be sharing stories about the things that matter to us. Written by kids for kids. The Rare Youth Revolution has begun.
Lovely, Edison. Cool. That's great. So Edison is representing the under 13s. So after the success of the youth magazine, there was a demand to create something more long-term with which the young people involved could really shape the progress of and also be nurtured along the way. So we went digital, and the Rare Youth Revolution was born and is inspiring and empowering the rare youth of today. It is an online platform giving a voice to young people living with rare disease. Did you know approximately 400 million people worldwide live with a rare disease? Almost 50% of these are children and young people, and many more may be a young carer supporting a loved one. The Rare Youth Revolution is a digital platform created to showcase young rare voices and to make sure they are being heard, and to help empower a future generation of rare disease advocates. The launch of Rare Youth Revolution back in June of this year marks a big step toward reaching more young people globally, to alleviate more voices and to help more children and young people gain valuable experience in media, storytelling and advocacy. Due to the current situation, all of our interactions have been virtual so far, but one day we hope to meet up in person. For now, we're harnessing the power of digital innovation to create a safe space for young people to share. We understand it's not always easy for young people to find a space where they feel comfortable to open up about living with a rare disease or condition. With that in mind, we've created a fun and interactive platform for young, like-minded people to share their rare disease journeys and open up about how they truly feel to be growing up in the world with a rare difference. The platform enables each individual to express themselves through their chosen medium, whether that's written word, spoken language, blogging, art, or any and all means that they choose. We have just begun to really get to grips with what young people want and need in their lives, and have had an overwhelmingly positive response. We have a dedicated youth team with ages varying from 7 to 25, and we're just getting started with this. We hope it will give each member the opportunity to really shape the movement. At the moment, we're working on expanding our youth team, and we've got some really brilliant young people who have signed up. So we can't wait to meet everyone virtually and see what the future holds for Rare Youth Revolution. Georgia's going to tell you a bit about her experience with the platform so far now. Here you go.
A rare disease and not being diagnosed until I was a teenager means I'm surrounded by people that do not have chronic illness in common with me. I have never knowingly had a problem with this. I've always been a bit different and had to do things differently, or not at all, because of my health, and nobody has ever questioned it. This was true at school, at college, at university, and at work. It is a nice change to suddenly be on a level playing field with my peers, as we all have to work from home. Everything is virtual. I am incredibly grateful to be working with Rare Youth Revolution, especially at such a lonely and uncertain time. Having something to dedicate my time to that involves other young people who can relate to me and I can relate to them is really important.
I think it is. It's so important at the moment when so much is, feels isolating. So it's a great thing. So here you can see some of the stories we've had so far from some of the young people. So we're trying to help young people open up about the sometimes taboo topics that can be hushed away normally, such as relationships with rare disease, school and work, the language around disability, and how this can impact our experiences. Education, we've spoken about how attendance being judged and given merit to is unfair if you're someone with an illness, as you really can't help having time off. And a lot of the young people feel this is something that shouldn't be a reflection of like how well you're doing by your attendance. So that's a great topic for discussion. We've had young people open up about their experiences of being a sibling to someone with a rare disease and how that makes them feel. Our monthly columnist, Edison, talks about his challenges while shielding in the pandemic and tells us how he manages his rare disease and the gadgets and gizmos that comes with it. I've written an article about my experience of working with a rare disease and how that affected my mental health. I really feel the platform enables young people to open up about topics they might not normally want to talk about, whether that's online or offline. So I know that having this dedicated youth website, the social media as well that goes with it, the Instagram and Facebook, is giving young people the confidence to come forward and express themselves. It's so important that they're able to do that in a world full of judgments and the need to seem perfect, especially when it comes to social media. We're constantly viewing life through a filter in these digital times, literally and metaphorically, and this can sometimes be damaging as we try and live up to these exacting expectations. Perfect look, perfect friends, perfect everything. So it's really refreshing that you can be yourself when it comes to the Rare Youth Revolution. Show your imperfect, here we go, this is my imperfect bit, imperfectly perfect selves. I think there are huge benefits when it comes to using a digital platform in this area. One being it is accessible to everyone, no matter what disability or rare condition, age, and it is global, and we're able to involve people from all around the world. So far, we've had people from the USA, India, New Zealand to Italy, and it's really brilliant. Georgia, our lovely columnist, likes to write on topics that she feels passionately about, and they're always great for sparking conversation in the rare disease space.
Yeah, so I've always had a fascination with the English language and why we use the words that we do and what they mean and where they come from. Paired with my rare disease means I have a specific interest in language relating to disability and the words society chooses to use. Rare Youth Revolution has given me a platform to do this. The last article I wrote for them was Is the Word Disabled Offensive?, where I explored the attitudes and intentions associated with the word and how it is used in my everyday life. I wrote another article on lockdown and living life with a progressive condition in a global pandemic. At the time, it was very therapeutic to write about my anxieties and hopefully help others.
Yay! So that's kind of it with regards to the platform itself and how we benefit from it and how the young people benefit from it. And now we're going to talk to you about Trend Community and Rare Youth Revolution surveys that we've been running. So the first one has come back, we've got the results, and they're really interesting actually. There's a lot of insights that we're going to share with you today. So this hasn't been shared before, so it's new and exciting news. So in terms of the benefits to digital innovations, it's limitless. As you can hear people's opinions from all around the world. The Rare Youth Revolution is in partnership with Trend Community, and we're still working together to try and create some concrete resources from our surveys. Trend Community has released the findings. Here they are. The first survey was capturing youth voices, and we wanted to find out where young people were talking about their rare disease and where they felt comfortable to do so. We also wanted to find out where people were going to learn about their rare diseases or others and conditions when it comes to digital platforms. So here's some of the findings. So we had an incredible global response to this survey. As you can see, people from all over the world took part, from Serbia, USA, Canada, Australia, and so many more.
So as you can see, the results showed that under 13s are using Facebook and Instagram to interact with each other and learn about rare conditions. They tend to not be doing this online, although some are using YouTube to learn more about their rare conditions. Ages 13 to 17 are very similar, although some may be using Instagram more for learning.
Yeah, you can see there's a big sort of gap in the none section when it comes to learning there, which is quite interesting. And yeah, blogs aren't really their thing yet, are they? It's more Facebook and Instagram, although WhatsApp, that's quite interesting to know. So here's the results from the 18 to 25 and above. So as you can see there, 18 to 24-year-olds are using Facebook to learn about rare conditions, and Instagram, Facebook and Twitter to interact with other young people. Snapchat is also popular for this age group, which is interesting to know as well. And blog sites. I think blogs become easier to sort of access and understand when you get to that age. So that's really good that people feel they can write about it online. So 25 and above, there we go. There shows a huge leap in popularity for Facebook, for interacting with others, and YouTube for learning about rare, which is interesting. Also Instagram, which is good because we know that Instagram as a digital platform is really useful when it comes to rare disease advocacy. So shockingly, we got 12.9% of the young people who took part in the survey are living without a diagnosis. So that's 12 out of the 93 who took part. This is a universal unmet need when it comes to rare disease. Patients and caregivers often spend years simply trying to get a correct diagnosis. So not everyone who took part in the survey had a rare disease. They're also young carers, siblings to people with rare disease, or some of their other family members, parents or others have rare disease. I just think it was such a great response, and it just means we can create some really good resources for patient groups and charities to learn from. So the results of that survey will be shared on our platform and any future surveys too. At the moment, we're currently running a mental health survey, so we can help young people in the rare disease world manage their mental health needs. You can find the link to that on our Instagram page in the bio. And we've got some really exciting times ahead. So we'll have an exciting opportunity for an intern. At some point in the near future, we'll be releasing that officially, which is great. And we also are going to be having our monthly team meetings. So from that, you'll be seeing lots of new campaigns and ideas coming out of that, online and hopefully offline one day when we can meet up in person. We will also be doing a monthly call out competition for writers, so we can have more great ideas coming in like we get from Georgia and Edison. So yeah, that's the Rare Youth Revolution. Thanks so much for listening.
Okay, we're back. That was absolutely brilliant, Daisy and Georgia. We're just gonna bring you in so we can ask you some questions here. Just turn on, there they are, beautiful
Hi.
faces. Hello.
Hey.
I'm just gonna spotlight you so we can see you guys. That was awesome. So one question that I think really applies to this when you have young people and social media and different opinions and stuff, how do you guys keep trolls at bay? And if anyone doesn't know what a troll is, just someone that has like just a negative outlook and attitude, really, and they just kind of try to bring people down on the internet, really.
So at the moment, we haven't actually had any experience with trolls, which is really reassuring. So that's really good. I think if we did encounter that, we'd just take the time to make sure we're always checking each platform for comments. And yeah, I think that's it, really, just keeping on top of it and making sure nothing slips through. Georgia, did you have any insights into that either?
No, I was just going to say that even in my personal life, I've never really come across anyone that has had anything not nice to say.
That's good. That's reassuring. Yeah.
Yes, that is exactly what you want to hear. And then just so everyone knows, like really quick, what is your age range for people you're looking for as new writers? What's the youngest and what's the oldest?
So we have two groups, so under 12s, and that can be like as soon as you can start writing, I guess, or speaking. So it's not like a minimum. And then up to 25, we're kind of cutting off at 25. We think that's like an adulty age.
Right, it is very true. And then this is just one last question before we keep going, but you said you can also do illustrations in different mediums, right? If you're not a writer, you can express yourself a different way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, keep going, Daisy.
No, just any means. Yeah, art, even like music, poetry, just anything.
Anything. So basically you heard it here first, guys. You have to send everything to Daisy and Georgia and get the word out, because this is a community that has so much to offer and so much to bring. So thank you guys so much for that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so now we're going to bring in Lucy Mackay, who is the CEO of Medics for Rare Diseases, who I believe you guys know a lot of. We've seen her on Theme 1, and we've seen her on breakout sessions, and we have her today, and it's her birthday. So if you can all wish her a happy birthday in our chat, that would be so awesome. She's going to have to run after her session really quickly because obviously people go places to see on your birthday. So just please get your questions to us as soon as possible so we can ask it and Lucy can answer you. And without further ado, I'll let her introduce you to Rare Disease 101, which is her new online learning platform to educate medical students and clinicians on rare disease. And she'll give us a live demo as well, which is really cool.
Thanks so much, Blaine. Yeah, sorry, it's me again. So I'm Lucy Mackay. I'm from Medics for Rare Diseases. And interestingly, listening to Georgia just then talking about what do we mean by the different words that we use in this area. And I've started thinking about how one might identify. Some people might not identify with having a rare disease. They might identify as having a rare condition and these kind of things. And so I'm just thinking this through. So I've decided that I identify as a family member, as a medical professional who never practices anymore, and as an advocate. And so I'm the CEO of Medics for Rare Diseases, and we are driving an attitude change towards rare diseases amongst medical students and doctors in training in order to improve the lives of those who live with rare diseases, and also to reduce the diagnostic odyssey that Daisy was just talking about. Thank you so much for having me find a cure. M4RD would not be in the position it is today to be making the changes it is without the Find a Cure team. And also without Rare Revolution, and the Rare Youth Revolution is wonderful, much needed. I can't wait to work with you because I think we can really join up. Let's face it, that some of the people who you might be seeing in hospital might feel like youth because they look younger and younger, but some doctors graduate at 22. And we need to be thinking about how we're targeting them rather than thinking about the specialists who are already there. They already care about rare. We want the people who may not have ever heard about rare disease during their training, or if they did, they might have heard about 1 in 7,000 rare diseases. So that's why Medics for Rare Diseases exists. I'm really heartened by those stats about Instagram because that's where I like to live my best M4RD life. And I'm pretty proud of my Instagram, which I'll get onto. I'm going to talk about how we engage our audience. I'm going to talk about what you can do to help us, because we need patient groups and patients to help in order to get our message across. We're not here to put words in your mouths. We want to just put you in the spotlight so that future clinicians and young clinicians can understand more about rare. So yeah, you're just basically going to have a tour around my computer now, so just bear with me. Sorry, messages. So first of all, I want to go to my slides to say this is who some of the M4RD team are. We've always been remote. In fact, not all of our committee the trustees have met each other. But just so you know, a lot of the things that I show you today were created by our trustee, Dan Jeffries, who is just our hero. And he has rare diseases. This is Joe, who's my assistant and also works for the International Gaucher Alliance, who you will probably talk to, and 2 of the original founders who are both GPs, Hannah and Debs. And our chair is not there. And we've also got Lindsay Weaver, former CEO of Metabolic Support, on our team. And also thank you to our sponsors, because we couldn't do this without financial support. And so anyone who is interested in what we do, we need you in order to keep going. So thank you very much. So who's our target audience? As I said, it's medical students and doctors in training. And unlike, I'm not sharing for a reason, I'm not full screen for a reason, but bear with me. Unlike maybe patients or families coming to patient groups, our audience doesn't tend to be knocking at our door. Medical students, doctors in training, they have long hours. They have to learn about a lot of things. So if you've heard me speak, you'll understand this idea of 7,000 conditions would take more than a medical school's life to be able to educate about. And so we have to be really proactive to get our audience, because we're driving an attitude change. And I want to talk to you today about one way we did that, which was through Instagram. And it all started because my friend texted me saying, have you ever heard of this condition? I said, no. And I put it on our Instagram story. And this became Mystery Disease Monday. And through Mystery Disease Monday, we were able to really grow our audience. Each Monday, we asked about a different disease and then gave some tidbits of information, keeping it really basic. And it really drove up our followers. And actually, this was last year. So this is the number of people looking at our story, the number of people voting on it. And we increased our following by 325%. We're now well over 1,000 because of this. And we asked about a number of conditions, and we've been doing it this year as well. Unfortunately, it's very time consuming, so we're on a pause at the moment. But if you are representing a patient group, if you ever want to be involved, please just email info@m4rd.org. And as soon as we can, we'll get it going. So that's one way we engage our audience. And just at this point, I just want to talk to you about how we do that, because often these are difficult subjects. These are people's life experiences that we are sort of taking from the patient groups, being given from the patient groups in order to educate the medical profession. So we need to be sensitive, but we also need to think about our tone. We're trying to bring people in, we're trying to get them involved. So what we try to always do is try to be respectfully light-hearted in order to really go on the education element, but also to show the realities. So I think that tone is really important, and what we always try to do is show personality as well, while again at the same time being professional and sensitive. And also it's really important for us to make sure we know our audience. So just like Georgia and Daisy were talking about, not all doctors are the same, just like not all patients are the same. They will have different experiences, different skills, they'll have seen different things, they'll be at different levels of training. And so if you are a patient group or a patient and you're trying to build and engage a medical audience, who are you trying to build and engage? Are you trying to talk to people who might be in the diagnostic process, those really early steps? Are you thinking about GPs? Or are you thinking about people in secondary care who might be referred this person but don't know which particular disease it is? Or are you talking about specialists and you need to talk to them about the management and changes in management? And if any of you are thinking about going ahead this year and trying to engage more with clinicians, just give that some thoughts. What's your target audience? Who's your target audience, and what are you trying to gain? Is this about diagnosis? Is this about management? If you ever want any help with that, please just contact M4RD and we'll just do what we can. The other thing is platform choice. Where are you putting out there? I rarely see doctors respond on Twitter, for example. I also find Facebook extremely clunky to use, but Instagram, they're there. Medical students are there. They're waiting for you on Instagram. So I want to show you about engaging medical students and clinicians on Instagram. So let me get rid of my friend Daniel here and go. So if you head over to Instagram, if you go to put in any medical university, so this is Manchester, and follow Manchester, you will find 30 different medical student societies. Like this one is Manchester RheumSoc. So say you're the Ehlers-Danlos Society, for example, these might be people that you want to follow. Or say you're in a neurological you support a neurological condition, go out there and see what neuro societies are out there on Instagram, and maybe start making some particular posts for them, because they will share them. They love this content. You can see that they're putting out content on different conditions, and that could be your condition if you create it for them and you liaise with them. Oh, I did have this up just to show you an example of Mystery Disease Monday. This is one we recently did with mast cell activation syndrome. So it goes through and it gives you some little information. So that's your audience, your platform of choice, your content of choice, and your tone. And I also think, what's our unique service provision now? What's our USP? And try not to recreate, but lift up someone who's doing it better. So this is the whole point in Mystery Disease Monday. We are there to show you that show the clinicians about the patient group, and at the end give information about the patient group, because that's where they can be going to find more information. So I've done a demo of MDM, and now I would just like to briefly show you where else you can start getting stuff for our medical audience. You can go to our website. So this is m4rd.org. If you have any videos, please just let us know and we can stick them in our video library. We've got a 1 in 17 section, which is for rare disease specific videos. This was working perfectly before, but obviously now I'm doing this, it's going to take a while to load. The other section I'd like you to look at going to is resources. Sorry, it's not loading, but you need to go to, if you go to resources, it will show you all the resources that have been put on there. You can create your own account. You can upload your own resources on this account so that you can, oh look, we've got Tiffany from the Rare Youth Project. So you can go here, you can go to manage, you create your own account, and then you can submit information materials that you think people in the clinical world would find really useful. So here we go, CATS Foundation have added things. We've got stuff about Wolfram syndrome. So that's something you can do today to start sharing things to this new audience. So that's what we can do for you. And now I think we're going to show you the pièce de résistance. Oh, no, I wanted to show you this. Here's the Schinzel-Gideon syndrome foundation, who are fairly new. They started last year, and we talked with each other, and I said, I think it's always great when websites have a for medical professionals section, so that when a medical professional is looking for up-to-date information about a condition, they go on the site and they go, you know, they might be time poor, they might be in a rush, and there they go, there's the tab for them, and you can give them the best up-to-date information you have in that tab. Addison's disease, the self-help group, do this really well as well. They've not only got a medics section here, but emergency help in case of Addisonian crisis. And I think that's just beautifully done. It made me think that if you're ever creating content that is like this good medical education, label it medical education, so that you can have the people who you want to read it go straight to it. And also just to be aware that if you are browsing the internet and you're thinking about where doctors might get their information about your condition, it might not be up to date, because they might be going to a regular site that they always use for more common conditions, and that site doesn't have the best up-to-date information about your condition. I'm about to show you a page which has some, I think, rather disturbing pictures of someone's face, so please don't look if you don't fancy it. But this is a condition that we know people with. And for example, these are the example pictures that have been provided for that condition. And it is my personal feeling, it is unlikely that a patient would present like that. But if someone was looking that up and you say, oh, this is the condition I have, they're not necessarily going to relate to these pictures. So just be aware that the places where clinicians normally go might not fully represent your disease, and that's why it's important for us to have more up-to-date stuff that medics can get to. Okay, now it's time for Blaine to finally see so excited, Lucy. Rare Disease 101. So Rare Disease 101 is something I've dreamed of. It's thanks to everyone, every patient, every clinician, every patient group out there who has helped M4RD along the way. We have listened to so many people talk about rare diseases, and as we all know, there are commonalities between them. We can produce basic training in rare disease without covering 7,000 rare diseases individually, and we hope this is it. This is the prototype at the moment. As with everything, it's going to need to develop and change, but this would be open access on our website for medical students, doctors in training to use to get that sort of 101 experience. So hopefully this video doesn't play and it is going to be changed. Please bear with us because it's work in progress at the moment. And this is definitely a sneak peek. But we've got different subjects. I had to whittle them down because there were quite a few. So we want Rare Disease 101, the basics, the Diagnostic Odyssey. What is that concept? And we take you through a Diagnostic Odyssey. Challenges that people with rare diseases face. Diagnostic tools, genomics, how patient groups can support you and the patient, supporting patients as a clinician, rare disease education, and a conclusion. As we were at the Find a Cure Rare Disease Showcase, I would like to show you the one about patient groups because it was kindly authored by Philippa from Find a Cure, and we could never have produced this ourselves. It's important for M4RD to get the experts in their field to do the information sharing. So here we go. It would start like this. You get your learning objectives and introduction, and then you have some testing pieces, go through what is a patient group. We've got some examples of patient groups and what do they do. We still need some pictures to be put in here, so just bear with me. So this, we can have testing slides and we can have video slides, and then at the end have some take-home messages. Or we've got some demonstrations of what different societies can do, a knowledge check, and then they will get their results of how they did. So this is going to be finished this year if I just have to keep plodding along and getting through it. There's a lot of those last minute things. But when it is released, I really hope that the rare disease community can get behind it, share it, but specifically with the people that we need to share it with, which is those clinicians early on in their careers. And so that when they go through their career, they dare to think rare, you know, and they understand that, okay, they might not see a single rare disease, but they should be seeing patients with rare diseases. And when they do, they have an idea of how they can support them. And I have just put Rare Youth Revolution on my list of the social prescribing that I would do, which I heard Sandra Butterworth talk about yesterday. So I think I have a list of things that I would, if you're from a patient group, that I'd like you to take away. So first of all, I believe that we all have a duty to talk about rare diseases as a whole. So if we can, even if we represent one disease, you'd be doing a part of M4RD's jobs when we're talking about to clinicians, etc., to be doing those messages of rare diseases are individually rare but collectively common, so that we can keep spreading that word. Flag when you're giving medical education, put it in the right places for the people that you want to see it. Follow relevant medical bodies on these different platforms, follow the Royal College of Physicians, follow Dermatology SOC at Liverpool. Can you do one thing this year to engage with early stage doctors? And what is it going to be? Or this year, 2021. And when it comes out, use of RD 101 and promoting it would be awesome. So I hope that was to time, I'm not sure, but thank you very much for having me. And any questions, if I can't answer them now, I'm on lucy@m4 with a number rd.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. That was brilliant and everything I hoped it would be, because I haven't seen it yet, so that was lovely. And shout out for Phil as well. You made her famous, which we're all quite happy about that. So thank you so much. And then we do have one question for you before you shoot off and have a birthday celebration. So they often find that the concept of awareness can be like really difficult because, like you say, every clinician can't be aware of every condition. So what do you think are the broader messages or issues that like they can try and make medical communities aware to help improve diagnostics and treatment?
Yeah, really good question. And I'm trying to find an image that goes with it. So, which I do have. So I'm just going to say, I can share this in on Twitter afterwards and Instagram afterwards. But basically, I would say the key points are, because we have to be pragmatic about this. I would love for everyone to be able to spot every rare disease, but we know that that's not possible. And as Georgia and Daisy said, not everyone has a diagnosis, and we don't want anyone being left behind. So my key points here are: rare diseases are collectively common. People with different diseases or conditions face very similar challenges. And I think, I don't have the time to go into it now, but I think there's something, there's lots about that in Rare Disease 101. As the other thing is, dare to think rare. Just by even thinking about rare, being inquisitive, being compassionate, and being, Nick from AKU says it's persevering can really help a patient. Use online resources that are for people with rare diseases, and ask local experts in order to refine your suspicions. Work in true partnership with your patient, who is likely to be an expert in their condition, and consider reviewing patients who may have missed out on more recent advances in diagnostics. Right. I hope that when RD 101 comes out, there can be more for you there, but I can't take up Find a Cure's time.
Well, thank you so much, Lucy. That was an absolutely brilliant presentation, like you always deliver. So enjoy a nice gin or something to celebrate. You did it. You're done.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Sorry, I can't stay. Have a great day, everybody.
It's okay. Bye, Lucy.
Bye.
Okay, so up next, last but not least, is Joanne Byrne, who is the CEO of Metabolic Support UK. So she's here to talk about how her charity, so Metabolic Support UK, has continued to support their community throughout the pandemic, but also branch out to support a new community, the PKD community, which we'll explain to you more after that, and see how she adapted what worked for her patient community to a brand new one, and how they found them, and what's next, and how this model could be used again for other patient groups who really do need us. So I will hand over the mic to Joanne, and I'm so excited to see what she has to share.
Thank you, Blaine. Just bear with me while I share my screen. Hopefully everybody can see that. I just wanted to say initially, thank you very much to Find a Cure for inviting Metasport UK to take part in this showcase. That is a tough, rare youth revolution, and Lucy from M4RD demonstrating some really great use of digital media to bring young people and also medical students together. So thank you very much for sharing those insights. That's really useful and a lot of takeaways for all of us, I think. So just in case you are not aware of Metabolic Support UK, we are an umbrella patient organisation. We are the rarest of the inherited metabolic disorders, and that's those that don't have a patient organisation in the UK. There may be some that have informal social media groups, and we also look to support them. But yeah, we really do focus on those that don't have any support elsewhere. Building and empowering patient communities is really at the heart of what we do, and it's a key strategic area for us over the next 10 years. So why the need for online disorder-specific patient communities? They bring patients and caregivers together and further access to our teams and services as well, which all helps to reduce the isolation that we know that rare disease patients and the families face. They provide safe and inclusive spaces to share experiences and provide peer support. They provide a platform for patients and families to have their say via regular focused topic discussions, symposiums and surveys, just to name a few. It improves the knowledge and understanding of the lived experience across the patient community, you know, with each other, with the wider community, and also with us as a patient organisation. We're all always looking to learn and be inspired by those that we support, which further helps us to develop our services and make sure that we can meet needs. They empower patients and caregivers by sharing accessible information on the developments in their condition area, including patient-friendly disorder information, education, relevant events, service signposting, opportunities to get involved in research studies, and lots more. And it also enables us to address common challenges and unmet needs and provide effective advocacy. And there's a brilliant opportunity for multi-stakeholder engagement with communities as well. So just some of the things that the patient insight, through our inquiries, through the correspondence that we have with lots of patients and their families and other stakeholders, there are, as Lucy mentioned before, lots of commonalities across different rare diseases. So some of the things that our patient communities might face are the burden of disease, you know, the cost of going to hospital appointments if they're, you know, 250 miles away and they've got to go there for treatment, take a whole day off work, take days off school. You know, the cost of the living with the disease is often quite a bit higher. Access to services and treatments. There are some inequalities across the country in terms of you know, service delivery. There are often issues with accessing treatments, with different funding agreements with the CCGs, etc. Some people get them from hospitals, some people get them from their local pharmacy. It all seems to be quite different across the country. Views of the current services, the patients and families that we support are always really keen to share their experiences of these so that we can help to hopefully improve and influence change for them. The impact of treatment, it's not easy to go through any treatment really. There are you know, medications that are difficult to take, to administer, particularly in a small child if it's you know, liquid that's got a particularly pungent taste. And it all has an impact on not just the patient but the wider family as well. And of course, there is the diagnostic odyssey as well. It can take several years to get a confirmed diagnosis of a rare disease. So all of these things put together help us to build a framework of how we can support patient communities and the wider inherited metabolic disorder community. That might be through advocating for them at a national level. It might be empowering an informal patient group to set up a registered and sustainable charity. It might just be to provide individual support as and when required. And of course, awareness raising across the board is really important, I think, for anybody that lives with a rare disease, just to make sure that, you know, medical professionals know what they're looking at in order to diagnose them, to treat them, to care for them, but also the other people that care for the patient outside of the home environment. So that might be schools, it might be youth groups, sports groups, etc. Anywhere that the child is that needs to have some knowledge of the condition and you know, how they need to manage it day to day. So with the pyruvate kinase deficiency, which we'll call PKD, we had already identified prior to COVID the need to build a community for this patient population. PKD is a really rare condition that affects the red blood cells. They break down faster than they should, which can lead to anemia and not enough red blood cells. So some patients face symptoms of fatigue, jaundice, muscle pain, shortness of breath, rapid heart rate, and it can also affect the liver and pancreas. And some patients have different medications, they might have blood transfusions. So there's a lot of different sort of elements to the care and management of the condition. So we'd already identified PKD as a community that we needed to build, and that was through the criteria that we have. So with us being an umbrella organisation, we obviously have several hundred conditions that don't have any external support. So we have to have a way of identifying the way in which we serve those patients and communities. So with PKD, there are therapeutic developments in the pipeline. We had data evidence that showed an increased number of support inquiries. There isn't a patient organisation in the UK that's an official registered organisation. And we found that there was little knowledge and understanding of the condition fairly widely across the IMD community. So initially, the disorder that needed the community, and then we undertook the scoping and collaboration work. So this helped us to really better understand the PKD landscape and what was happening, what the developments actually are, and what the patients need. We reached out to national and international stakeholders. These are researchers, informal patient groups, industry, medical professionals, etc. And as part of that, we were appointed on an international patient advisory committee, which was led by a pharma organisation. We met and collaborated with a small number of really keen patient advocates that were very keen to take forward a community of their own as well, and really start to take a lead on that, which is a real win for us in a building communities aspect. And then in terms of the actual building of the community, we did some work to identify the platform. We found across our patient community generally that Facebook is one of the best platforms to use. We've tried different forums externally, but we always seem to come back to Facebook. And I think it's because people are already in that app, they're already engaging. If they're in a closed group, the discussion threads will come up in their timeline where they're at. And they can engage or just watch as much as they want to and get involved as much as they want to. We joined forces with an existing informal support group, again on Facebook, of PKD patients in the UK, and we've basically merged those now. But we are very much working in collaboration with that group to enable them to really take it forward and to take a lead on that. In collaboration with the patients, we developed a community framework. So we worked on what we felt the unmet needs were, what resources they might need, advocacy they may need, and how we can support them individually from the patients. And we shared with the international stakeholders as well so that they could benefit from our learnings there. We've created some patient resources based on some of the initial identified needs, specifically a Q&A tool sheet, which will help people to be able to ask relevant questions when they go to the hospital appointments. So it's just a really simple, patient-friendly FAQ resource that we've had good from patients to learn about the kinds of questions that they might need to ask the medical professionals. We're also working on a children's resource as well to help parents to easily explain the condition and the management of it to their children. As part of our annual conference, which we took online as a result of the COVID pandemic, we also had a PKD-specific online patient symposium. This had some really good engagement. We had some good talks from industry, from professionals, and the patient perspective as well. So it was an opportunity for patients from different parts of the country outside of the UK to get together virtually and just have those discussions and start those conversations. In terms of how COVID has affected, the way in which we approach building a community, when the lockdown started, we had to move out of our office and become a remote team. So we were able to do that reasonably seamlessly, I think, because we really pulled together as a team to make sure that patients that were at the heart of everything that we did with the COVID response, and we were all hands to the pump in terms of making sure that patients understood all of the information that they were being given about shielding, about isolation, about the lockdown, whether or not they should be going out to work, etc. The letters, which were a key to being able to access the extra support, such as supermarket delivery schedules, etc. So we were able to quickly become a remote team, and we had to upskill really quickly in terms of the different media and improving our online presence. So we hadn't used Zoom an awful lot before the COVID situation. So we quickly started to have all of our team meetings via Zoom, our external meetings. We started to have virtual coffee mornings with our patient community, which went down really well across the patient community over the lockdown. And we're still continuing to do those, although not every week as we were during the lockdown. We've also developed videos, so that might, well, initially it was the team talking about coping through lockdown and different self-care tips. And it's also turned into a patient insight series where we've interviewed patients throughout the lockdown about different aspects of things that have really affected them. So that might have been accessing emergency care during the pandemic, managing treatment at home. A parent spoke to us about her adult son who lives in supported accommodation and how the lockdown had affected both him and her as a mum, and other patient insights that will really help the community to know that they're not alone and to kind of advise and share experiences to help them. We also work with the BIMDG, which is the British Inherited Metabolic Disorder Group of Lysosomal Storage Disorder Collaboration, to develop some webinars to inform patients about the different movements along with the COVID situation. So initially it was all about what the condition is, who should be shielding, what that means, and then we moved on to different updates and how people can cope with lockdown in terms of protecting their mental health, etc. So I think collectively across our videos and webinars, we've had about 10,000 views, so the reach has been phenomenal. And we also moved our conference online this year. We've always had an in-person conference, usually in Birmingham. So this was the first time that we used an online platform to deliver. We had some webinars and also disorder-specific patient symposiums, again, which had some fantastic feedback. So that's really what we've done over the past 7 or 8 months in terms of becoming fully digital and remote. I think what's made things easier in terms of being able to engage the community is the social surge in usage of communication tools and uptake of online activities. So people that might not necessarily have used, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, etc., are speaking to their family using these methods. So I think people are more widely digital. There's an increased sense of community overall. So if you remember back at the start of the lockdown, the feeling of community when everybody was going out on a Thursday, clapping on the doorsteps of the NHS, rainbows in the windows, people helping each other, volunteers in the community, picking up prescriptions and delivering shopping, etc. I think that's a real positive outcome of COVID. And I think it's also led a drive to seek out community to help reduce isolation as well with the prolonged period of being at home. As an organisation, I think it's really helped us to strengthen our relationships with the patients that we support. I think our increased visibility has really helped. The fact that we've been on camera, we've been delivering webinars, people know us as a face rather than just a name behind an email or a website now, which I think has really helped. And I think that's helps us to increase our community as a whole too. So 6 months on, where is the PKD patient community? It's still early days, but there has been a huge community growth. I think it's about 2,500% from where we started to the number of people that regularly engage now. The patient resources I mentioned before, we've got the Q&A for hospital appointments, and we're working on a children's resource. Patient empowerment, I think there are some patients within the group that are really keen and motivated to take a lead, which we absolutely support. And, we will do all we can to empower them and to get them on the right track and to make sure that they completely feel supported by Metabolic Support UK in that. Multi-stakeholder engagement. In terms of our annual conference where we had the symposium, we had representatives from the medical community, researchers, we had students, we had industry, as well as patients. So I think there's a real opportunity to come together to have the perspectives of all of those different stakeholders. And definitely improved understanding from our perspective. We've really listened and really learned from the patients and their insight to improve our own understanding of the condition. And in turn, we can then turn that into improved service for patients that contact us in the future, but also to support that community as a whole. What's next? I know I'm running slightly over time, so I'll quickly run through these. But creating patient leaders, as I said before, with a patient community, if we can empower and help a patient to really take a lead in a patient community and to take that to becoming maybe a registered group, that is a real win for us. And that's something that we really actively encourage and hope will happen. And we also will engage the community to participate more at a national level. As I said, there are therapeutic developments in the pipeline, so there will be lots of opportunities for insight and evidence to be input at different stages of that. For advocacy, we'll continue to use qualitative and quantitative patient insight advocacy needs. We'll continue to collaborate nationally and internationally, really important with patient communities, and we will strengthen our engagement with industry as well. Measuring impact, again, hugely important. We will always make sure that we analyse the data and evidence and the patient insight generated in order to improve our services. It's not just about the number of patients engaged, it's about the perception of the quality of the support that they have received from us. So that's something that we will continue to measure and make sure that the impact really develops the action. 3 tips to building a community from us. I would say at the outset, really research the need of the patient community. Collaborate as much as possible. There are people, globally that you can reach, different experts in medical conditions in different, areas of working with patients, and reach, thinking about how you can reach patients. Normally, obviously, without being in lockdown and with social distancing guidance in place, we will be able to physically go out to clinics to engage with patients and go out to different events and meet them there. But we've had to move to be completely digital. Involve patients and stakeholders, really, really important. I think if they're involved in the design and the delivery of any kind of community service and feel like they have a voice and that they're listened to, I think the community will only kind of grow in terms of the engagement and also the impact that will have. And then continually measure impact to evolve and adapt. It might be that you identify 2 or 3 key needs at the start, but things move on. We know the global pandemic put a spin on absolutely everything we thought we knew, and needs are in some cases completely different now. So I think you really need to have the mindset to adapt where necessary also. And that's me. Thank you very much.
That was awesome, Joanne. Thank you so much.
I was speed talking then. So
I know.
Sorry to run through it so quickly.
It was great. We could see the tips were awesome at the end. So thank you so much for that, because that gives people homework to go away and do. And I was gonna ask you a few questions, but we unfortunately ran out of time. So definitely we'll send them to you so you can answer any ones you receive. So that'll be good. And then
perfect, no problem.
Yeah, thank you. And then we're gonna all break out into breakout sessions soon. So please attend either youth, diversity, or creativity. That's what I'm calling it because there are longer names, but that's basically the sum of it. So I'm just going to hand it over to Phil to do the lightning talks now. And I'm going to go shoot and get ready for Lawrence, who has more energy than me. So if you can believe that, please come with me and join us. And if not, enjoy the lightning talk. And thank you so much again, Joanne, and all our brilliant, brilliant speakers.
Thank you so much, Blaine, and such energetic hosting. I love it. I have to say it feels great to be famous as well, so you can collect my autograph at the end of the conference. So without further ado, it's my favourite part of Find Your showcases and conferences, and that is our lightning round. So what a lightning round is premised upon is that we give the first people who sign up to the showcase a chance to talk about something that they want to talk about. They only have 5 minutes to do that though, and that is the real challenge. And because we're already short on time, a little bit, I'm going to be extra savage with my bell today, so they better be watching out. So I'm not going to go on for much longer. I'm going to introduce our first lightning speaker, and that is Rachel Jones, who is Medical Director at Switch Health, and she's going to be talking about using tweet chats to gain insight into patients' lives and opinions. So Rachel, take it away and good luck.
Hi, let me just share my screen. Don't start.
That's not part of the time, don't worry.
Please don't. No, I'm just trying to find it actually. No pressure. Hang on. Let me just do it. Am I sharing at the moment?
You're not.
Okay. Let me just find it again. Okay. Why can't I find this?
I feel like these things always work in practice, don't they? And then
yeah, they do. And they work
well
when you are not up against it. Yeah, just bear with me. Okay. Okay,
there we go. I can see that now. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see that right now? Can you see my?
Yes, I can see your
presentation. Slides. Yeah. Brill. Okay. Right. No pressure then. Right. 5 minutes. And you can see the screen, the slides. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right. I'm good to go. I'm starting now. Okay. So I've already been introduced. I'm Rachel Jones. I'm a medical director of Switch Health. So what is a tweet chat? For people who don't know what a tweet chat is, it is a Twitter chat or live chat, and it's scheduled and held on Twitter. It's a conversation that's held at a specific time and around a specific hashtag. So it can be about absolutely anything, but it is actually located or tagged around a hashtag. Anybody can organise one, and it is important to have a moderator. So the person or organisation coordinating it often serves as the moderator. And what do you need for a hashtag? Oh, sorry, for a tweet chat? Well, all you need is actually a hashtag, actually Wi-Fi, and a phone. And what do we like at Switch about tweet chats? Well, they're really inclusive. Anybody can come around the world as long as it's in their time zone, or they're willing to get up or work late, they can absolutely join. It knows no bounds. So there is no location. As long as you have Wi-Fi and a phone and you have the hashtag, anybody can join from any location, and you can talk about absolutely anything. We found it fantastic and love it for networking. So we have made and continue to make more and more friends all around the world that we continue to stay in contact with. And what we love is seeing people who join our tweet chats also network and make, I suppose, allies and collaborations with people they would never have known existed. We can also take measurable insights. So what we do is when we have our tweet chats, we run them and we actually take behavioral insight measurements. We basically just measure and look at and collate the insights and publish them from what has been discussed. You can have enduring conversations. So even though the tweet chat finishes after, for example, an hour, people often want to stay on and they carry on the conversation, a bit like a really good party. Think of it like a party, but online. People carry on talking and make contacts and take those offline. And certainly in Rare, it's a massive opportunity for rare connections, because people can be often small in numbers, scattered around the world, and it gives that massive opportunity for people in the rare sector to meet with others and share ideas and connections right across the world. I told you that we can take insights, and this is just a real brief look at what we've done in the past. We hosted in May of this year a tweet chat, which we called Rare in This Together. And that was looking at the impact of COVID-19 on the families who are living with rare diseases. And I won't go into this diagram too much, but as you can see, we've actually themed the conversations that came out. And if anybody at the end would like the report on that, please email me. My email's on the final slide if you'd like to get the report. What have we learned from it? Well, you know, it's not perfect. You have to keep very calm. It goes very quickly. You have to work on your invitation. So again, like any party or meeting, you have to work to invite people and get them there and actually get a volume of people to turn up. And then it becomes viral and it does take over. We prime our network first. So we actually get our friends and people who are close to us in our business and in our network to actually to join and be active participants to get it going. We also have to give very clear instructions. This is what we learned the hard way. The first one we ran, not everybody's familiar with a tweet chat, and it's not particularly intuitive in that you follow the hashtag. Many people used to follow my Twitter account to join, and they were sorely disappointed. They actually need to follow the hashtag to actually join the tweet chat. It's really fast paced, a bit like this 5 minutes I've got right now, really fast paced. And as you can see on the left, we use a piece of software called TweetDeck, and it's free, and you can manage all the conversations at once. But actually you have to keep really calm. We had about 3 or 4 facilitators at once for one tweet chat lasting 1 hour. These were voluntary people who worked with us. We worked on it too, and we actually facilitated all those conversations coming up. And follow up after the event. It is enduring if you want it to be. You can make friends and collaborations and contacts that last forever. And in summary, really, what else have we learned? We'll close the loop, actually. Share the findings, so show respect for people's input and their time. Encourage people to actually take away and have conversations around the hashtag afterwards, and embrace your new network is what I have learned from it. And as you can see there, we've actually just popped in 3 pieces of feedback we received after it. You know, you can take away the key points. People found it thought-provoking. You can see Sheila there. She loved making new connections. And Ataxia and me, well, that hour flew by, and it absolutely flies by. So that would be my key learning from it. Close the loop and show respect for people's time. And with 10 seconds to go, if anybody wants more information about it, or they want the report that we issued before, please do email me at that contact email. Yes.
She beat the bell, everyone. She beat the bell. I realised I didn't introduce the bell to anyone that's never been to a Find a Hero Lightning Talk, but we ring the bell when the 5 minutes is done for anyone that was like, why does she have a bell? Thank you so much, Rachel. I really enjoyed that lightning talk, and I think you really hit the mark with that. So that was absolutely brilliant. So the next lightning speaker that we have is Sam Fillingham, who is a trustee at PIP UK, or PIP UK, I guess. And her talk is called Poland Syndrome, an isolated community coming together during a pandemic. So Sam, if you want to take to the stage for your lightning talk, and I'll get my timer ready.
Brilliant, thank you very much. My screen should be shared momentarily. There we go. So thank you for this opportunity. I will make a start. I am Sam Fillingham. I am the founder of PIP UK. We support families affected by Poland syndrome, which is a rare limb difference. So Poland like the country, but it was actually named after a gentleman called Alfred Poland. So like many syndromes and diseases in the rare space, we're an isolated community. So this summer we were due to have our second ever annual family day in Glasgow, and we had to quickly pivot to online. Like many organisations, as a small volunteer run charity, that obviously gave us lots of challenges to overcome. Firstly being the technology and hardware that we needed for it. You know, we didn't really have much access to technology and hardware really, apart from, you know, your average email and everything. So we had to get hold of all of that and get Zoom and everything set up, get computers. We also had to make changes in our volunteering strategy because for the face-to-face events, we had a lot of brilliant volunteers that were fantastic at all the logistics of what to do on face-to-face event, but weren't ready for the IT skills required for an online event. So that was an interesting challenge to overcome. And also for the medics that we'd got involved for the first time as well, we had a great hand surgeon and a psychological nurse practitioner who was due to come and spend some time with our members, and we had to work with them to make sure that they were comfortable with the technology that we were going to use for the online event and make sure that we were still able to take part in everything, because obviously the NHS was really busy at that time. And then a final challenge was just the confidentiality then of the sessions and time with those medics as well was something that we had to overcome. So it made a very interesting summer for me and our volunteers, but we did manage to overcome those challenges, I'm very glad to say. And on the day, it was really fantastic. So we had a great talk from the hand surgeon, Andrea Jester, and it was amazing for everyone to share their hands on screen and to talk to Andrea in depth about their hands and various options around that. And then our family spent some time with Orla Duncan, the nurse practitioner, to talk about the psychology of living with limb difference, and those were really great sessions. And then our families were able to have one-to-ones with both those medics as well, which was fantastic to be able to offer that for the first time ever. And you know, handle the confidentiality and everything around that was really interesting, but it worked really well. And to bring some fun into it for the kids, which can be quite difficult online, but we found a fantastic live magician who had a live rabbit, and the kids were absolutely made up with that, so that worked out really well. And then one of the final sessions was just coffee and chat, you know, which was a really powerful session of just bringing the community together online. Another real plus, which similar to the other groups that have gone online this year, is it really increased our reach. So we had people from America, France, Australia, Germany, Switzerland. We had a Spanish patient group that joined us, which was fantastic. And we also had medics from all around the world that were able to spend some time with us on the day as well, including medics from Japan and Italy, which we weren't expecting, and they just turned up, and that was fantastic to get that interest from them and have them get involved. So yeah, the reach with online was fantastic. So overall, the feedback from the day from our members, that it was a really fun day. They felt really supported in the sessions that we held. They also felt it was really inclusive, you know, if they've not been able to get to the face-to-face session before for time, money, distance, that was no longer a barrier. So a lot more people were able to take part. And that also enabled it to be multi-generational as well. There were so many families, you know, grandparents sat in the front room with grandkids and things like that as well. So it was really great to see that multi-generational element enabled as part of taking our family days online. So learning from it, online will now be incorporated into all of our face-to-face events. So when we get to those heady days where we can all be together again, we won't be leaving behind those people that, you know, in other countries that do need that support and do want to get in touch. So we'll be incorporating that from now on. So that's been really valuable from that point of view. What's next for us? We have just got National Lottery funding to get our first paid role to work on a community register, and coming to the conference to look at setting up an advisory board, a part of that, and to collaborate with medics and scientists as well. So please, any medics, scientists listening, get in touch. We'd love to collaborate and work with you. I'm not sure where I am on my timing, Philippa, but that's me.
Everyone is doing so well today on their timing. Thank you all. Absolutely brilliant that you've decided to incorporate that in for accessibility, and also that you have medics joining you. That's what we always want. And I'm sure Lucy Mackay would be very happy to hear that. So thank you so much, Sam. So moving on to the next lightning talk, we're joined by Jen Tisman, who is Business Manager, ERN Eurogen. Nice rhyme there. And she is going to be discussing European reference networks and innovation in care for rare diseases. So Jen, you take to the stage now.
Is that working?
It is indeed.
Excellent, then I shall begin. Yeah, as I've been introduced, I'm Jen Tidman, and I'm the support manager for the European Reference Network, Eurogen. So European Reference Networks are virtual networks that gather together doctors and researchers with high expertise in fields where there are fields of low prevalence and complex diseases, with the aim of transforming the care of patients from all across Europe. There are 6,000 to 8,000 rare diseases that affect 30 million EU citizens, as I'm sure you're aware, and no country alone has the knowledge or the capacity to provide access to diagnosis and high quality treatment for all. So in 2017, after a call a couple of years previously, the European Commission launched 24 of these European reference networks that involve over 900 highly specialised healthcare teams that are located in over 300 hospitals in 26 European member states. Last year, affiliated partners were added to the ERNs to represent healthcare providers in member states where a network had no existing full member. And next year, we'll have new full members joining all of the reference networks following a call for applications last year. My slide won't skip. There we go. So how do the ERNs help patients and clinicians? The main use of the ERNs is for virtual consultations, which deliver clinical advice to the clinicians who treat rare disease patients. Alongside that, we also work on developing clinical guidelines to provide evidence-based information on rare diseases where often there haven't been guidelines before, and in order to replicate and standardise best practice methodology and to translate this into patient information for the patients themselves. We're also working on patient registries to collect and analyse data that can then be used in research and in innovation to develop new treatment methods or surgical techniques alongside studies for these. And the ERNs have preferential access to EU funding. We also carry out a lot of education and training for clinicians and for patients, and we try and share and build knowledge through webinars, exchange visits, and so on. The ERNs have cross actions where they work together to collaborate where their specialities overlap and in lobbying the European Parliament. And patients are key to everything that we do. So we collaborate with patient organisations and representatives, and we listen to the common needs and the unmet needs for the patients. So the virtual consultations are run using something called the Clinical Patient Management System. This is a purpose-built and highly secure web platform, which allows virtual multidisciplinary team meetings. So a panel of experts will hold this virtual meeting and they can diagnose, suggest treatment or surgery, and then provide post-operative and transitional support to clinicians and patients. How it works is that a healthcare provider located in the EU with a patient that they're treating who has a rare disease or complex condition in the scope of the ERN and who gives their full informed consent, the provider can then upload their medical information, including any imaging, to the CPMS. And then the panel of experts discuss this during the live video meeting and provide an outcome report, which is sent with highly specialised advice based on the latest scientific knowledge. As I mentioned, there are 24 of these European reference networks. I'm not going to read them all out, but you could take a screenshot quickly or look at the slides later so that you know if the rare disease that you treat or that you are suffering from is covered, then you know to Google the name of the reference network that applies and look up further information. In terms of our reference network, ours is ERN Eurogen, and we cover urorectogenital diseases and conditions. At the moment, we've got 29 members, 12 associated national centres and 4 coordination hubs, and we're assessing applications for 31 new members to join us next year. We have 3 work streams. They cover paediatric congenital abnormalities, functional surgery and cancer. And we have several supporting partners across the fields of urorectogenital medicine and diseases that endorse what we're doing, and we can turn to them as well. And through the network, we've had several success stories across all 3 of our work streams where we've been able to provide advice that's really made a life-changing difference. As you'll see, we've helped a baby with a very complex disorder and advised a surgical approach and ongoing transitional management, a woman with chronic pelvic pain, and a man with a very rare penile and testicular cancer, where he was advised to have surgery rather than the treatment path that he was on. So that, absolutely changed his life, and he's now surviving and doing really well. So.
Thanks for that, sorry.
Yeah.
If you want to take a really quick picture of this whilst I'm introducing the next one, I'm really sorry to cut you off there, Jen.
That's fine.
We just are very short on time, unfortunately. Thank you so much, Jen. I'm going to move on to the next speaker whilst you just take a quick picture of that screen if you want to. And it will be David Rose, who is Business Development Manager at Rare Revolution. And he is going to talk about the difficulties of being a rare disease patient during COVID-19. So something I'm sure that a lot of people will be able to relate to. So David, if you would like to take to the stage now. Thank you, Jen.
Thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I'm David. I have an ultra rare disease called occipital horn syndrome. It's affected around 25 people globally. It affects my sort of internal organs as well as my musculoskeletal system. I wanted to try and touch upon some of my experiences and kind of takeaway thoughts of the last few months of living with COVID. Obviously, as you all know, the world has kind of gone into this new way of life. Some interesting parts that certainly we've been spending a lot more time indoors to try and prevent the growth of this all. However, this has had a sort of a big impact on myself, and I'm sure all the other people living with a rare disease. So back in April, when in the UK people were receiving letters whether they should be shielding or not, something that I didn't actually receive for quite some time. I think it was quite common that people were getting them from all different points. Some of them were from GPs, some were from government, all over the place. So mine came from one of my hospitals, and it said that I didn't actually need to shield, but was just told to be kind of extra cautious, I guess. Mine is not a respiratory condition, so I wasn't put into the higher risk, or it's not a kind of autoimmune condition. I think the healthcare system's had a real shake-up since we've moved. Funny enough, I actually moved house kind of just before the lockdown here in the UK. I was new to my new local GP. I obviously know when you have a rare disease, your GP is kind of your gatekeeper. It's the person that's in charge of a lot of things. I have weekly sort of blood and urine tests that I'm supposed to have done. At the moment, it's been pretty much impossible to have that because they're not sending things off, or just not open for appointments. So it's been a real challenge, certainly. I still had kind of like normal person illnesses, if you want to call it that. So I fractured my ankle a couple of months ago, ended up in A&E, and A&E seems completely different to how I remember it before. You can't have any guests with you, which is, I can see the point, but it's tricky for some people. I personally can handle that, but I think some people would really benefit from their loved one or their friend being there with them. Kind of in terms of surgeries and procedures, I'm waiting for different surgeries and procedures at the moment. Some of them are getting cancelled, some of them are getting massively delayed. It's the same trying to reach my doctors generally. It's impossible to get hold of them via the phone. I think it's lots of clinics are shut, which I understand, but it feels like COVID has affected everything, and it's kind of put the whole, or certainly put my kind of rare disease on hold. Kind of moving forward with video and phone calls I think that's a good idea in many ways. I think it works for lots of things, but it doesn't work if you're trying to show them something, or, you know, there are definitely downsides to it, really. Mentally, I think this has had quite a big impact. It's, you know, it's a tricky time for everyone, and I think I'm definitely more worried about kind of the future of my healthcare rather than actually COVID itself. I think that, you know, it's just having a knock-on of not knowing when you're going to be seen by a doctor next, or if things are going to be missed because it's been too long between appointments. I think that's a real common frustration and anxiety, I guess, for me at the moment. I think the kind of backlog will be huge of all the appointments that people are missing, whether it's a routine appointments for people that are kind of otherwise relatively healthy, or people at the other end with kind of very complex rare diseases. Just like to add, it's not my reflections on the NHS. They do a fantastic job. I think it's coming from a high level. I just hope that kind of something gets done, and we're not forgotten about. I think there's around 3 million people UK living with a rare disease. So collectively, it's not, you know, when we put them together, we're actually quite a big group. I just hope that we aren't forgotten about, and, you know, things do get a little bit better. It's not that I don't think coronavirus is dangerous, because I definitely do think it's dangerous. I think that from my perspective, I think because I've been ill since I was a baby. I've had over 100 operations. I've had sepsis a few times. I've been in intensive care loads of times. I think me personally, I think that I'm used to kind of fighting different things off, and I'm just more worried about, you know, life in general, not only for me, but for other people living with rare diseases and or chronic diseases as well. Kind of going back to the mental health side of things, I think the lockdowns have had a real impact on me, because kind of the way I kind of, you know, deal with having my rare disease is by booking things in my friends and family. And at the moment, it's been pretty much impossible to do anything. So hopefully that will change at some point. As I mentioned, my rare disease is really rare. There's no patient group sort of anywhere in the world. So I don't really feel like at the moment anyone's kind of advocating for me. Normally I'm used to being by myself, but I think at the moment, I think it would actually be useful again if I could do that. In terms of the vaccine, I guess that's kind of a good thing. It's all, you know, things are progressing, and hopefully that will make a big difference, and we can start vaccinating.
I couldn't tell then if you were like, is he finished or not?
No, about 20 seconds. But
I'm so sorry. Thanks, Sid. That was brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing your personal experience with us about how you've dealt with things this year. And I'm really sorry, but we won't be able to have time for any of our lightning speakers, because we do have to move on to breakouts. But all of these speakers here are on the Swapcard platform, and have, if they've given their details, please feel free to connect with them, because that's how we keep the community growing. And I just want to say a huge thank you again to all of our speakers. It's so brilliant to see how the community has so proactively dealt with the challenges that they've been faced with this year, and it was just such an interesting discussion to be a part of, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as well. So I'm going to end this stream now, and hopefully we'll see some of you in the breakouts now, and also tomorrow for our final day of the Virtual Rare Disease Showcase. So thank you everyone, and I'll see you later.